You boys ready?
Ready.
Let's do a podcast.
Shut up and sit down.
Believe in yourself because you came all the way to here. That means you must have some talent. You must have some potential. Just don't throw it away by just giving up.
I let go of the handlebars, let go of the handles. I let go of the handlebars, letting go of the handles. Yeah, I can't keep my hands off you or off my bicycle.
I've told you once and I'll tell you again. Shut up, legs. I'd love to say that to Matt Lee Grand, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Doering as well, but I'd probably get canned from this gig. Nevertheless, enjoy the Dialed podcast.
Yep.
Yes, showing up and participating is important. Trying your best is important, but neither deserves a trophy. If you want one of those, go win some.
Do I look too cool? Do I look too cool? On my bicycle, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm sorry,
You ate all the waffles?
Yes, I did.
Could have asked us if we wanted any.
Nuh-uh, if I give you the waffles, I won't get any.
Link, would you like a waffle?
There is no more waffles. I have them all.
Why, yes, Red, I think I would like 2 waffles.
You can't, you want 2 of them? I just don't know why you guys get all the waffles. You guys are being selfish.
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. And Jake Von Doering. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler. Hello.
What's up, your frigginness?
Hello, guys. What's up?
Gibbo.
Gibbo. There's no Gibbo.
There's no Gibbo here.
No Gibbo.
No Gibbo? Do you want to?
There it is. We miss him. That's just a we miss you.
Oh, poor Gibbo.
Who's the asshole? He's the asshole because
He's in Mallorca.
Mallorca biking his brains out.
Yes, like 7,000 feet of climbing a day. The pictures look phenomenal.
Life is rough.
Yeah, well done, Gibbo.
To Lance is right, Mr. Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? Just the 3 of us here today, but you guys look freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
That's what we think about that. See that bass
dong.
drop? That's the bass drop that you put when you when you're doing sound design on your videos.
Sure, yeah.
And you want something to be impactful. You just like
Drop a
dum.
bass drum.
Yeah,
There
it's
it
like,
is.
sounds more like the Gong Show there. But
The Gong
All right.
Show. Yeah, that was a good one.
Right on. All right, hey, let's do some backpedaling. Matt, would you like to kick it off with us?
Sure. It's been running all the time.
Yes.
7 miles this morning. Felt fantastic. A little faster. All good things. Mileage is
Good.
Need to get on the bike because I don't want to forget how to bike.
Don't
you know?
forget how to bike.
And I don't want to forget how to swim because that can be dangerous as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
You lose the feel for the water.
you lose the feel for the. I mean, I've officially lost the feel for the water. I mean, I'm just slow in the water.
In 1998, you lost the feel for the
Lost the feel. I lost that love and feeling. I don't know if you've heard that song before.
That's from 1977.
Okay, I was right there. Yeah, so it's all running all the time, and it's so convenient to just be able to be like, drop a kid off, go run.
Yeah.
Be hour later you're done and dusted, and
Nice.
it's like the equivalent of going out for a 3-hour bike ride in a third of the time, right? So
Right, exactly.
it's good. It's very efficient. Happy with that. But I don't have a lot to report on. I'm not racing. I should find some sort of I don't know. Maybe I should sign up for a half marathon and train for it or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll race you.
Okay. Is it to the beer fridge and back?
If I drink beer, yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Oh, I don't even remember last time I had a beer. But anyway, cool.
Next live show we do.
There you go. Mr. Hepler,
Yo,
backpedal.
I raced my bike this weekend. I did the
what'd you do?
Silver Falls mountain bike
Oh.
race. It was the Obra Championships for Oregon State.
Did you ride underneath some waterfalls?
So Silver Falls State Park is a gorgeous park with like these 10 beautiful waterfalls. That
What's the name of the route that's like you can do
the
this
trail
route and
the
see?
Trail of 10 Falls.
Okay.
I think that's what it's
No,
called.
I think you're right.
The Trail
Yeah.
of 10 Falls. So yeah, it's a gorgeous state park, and there's some mountain biking in part of the course or in part of the park, and so that's where they had the mountain bike race at. They've had it for a few years. Kind of a difficult-ish course because it's like an 11-mile loop. No, I'm going to get this wrong. It's a 9-mile loop with a 3.5-mile climb and then this big long descent, like an 8-mile descent.
Do you get to see all 10 waterfalls?
No, you don't get to see any waterfalls.
That's what I was wondering.
It's not because that's the busy part of the park. Yeah, and we're like ripping down these trails.
Yeah.
It's a super fun course. The climb isn't really that steep. It's just long, and then the downhill is just so much freaking fun. It's one of the funnest like downhill single track sections that we do in the state of Oregon in racing because it's so long and you can just rip. I raced in the Cat 2 50 to 59 field, and I got beat by my teammate this year. I did not win, so
that's good. You need to not win occasionally.
It was really good. My teammate Todd Edwards, we have been working a lot together on just on race prep and race execution and all that stuff. And he calls me Captain Hep, even though I'm not the captain of anything except your soul, Matt.
Except for your dreamy eyes. And,
so anyway, the race started out. Todd was right on my wheel. We hit the climb, and I've actually been climbing really well for most of this year so far. But not Saturday. I was not climbing well.
Oh, boy.
I didn't quite feel right. I'm not really sure what was up, but I didn't really quite feel right. And Todd passed me on the climb, and I never saw him again. He's a very good descender, and he ended up beating me at the race by like a minute.
You never saw him again?
No, I never saw him again.
Out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
huh? Wow.
And I tried desperately to catch him, but on a single track downhill, you're going to catch traffic.
Yeah.
And getting around the traffic is a skill to do it politely.
We might have to talk about that a little bit more later on in this podcast.
We might have to talk about that. And so it's a skill, and sometimes it goes smoothly and sometimes it doesn't. And so for whatever reason, I couldn't catch Todd. He clearly beat me. And so I ended up second in the field of, I don't know, there were 30 of us or something like that. So I took second and Todd won. I got to tell you, he hasn't won a mountain bike race for Obra ever before. And so he was thrilled.
Yeah.
He was so happy after the race. I crossed the finish line. He had just crossed it like a minute before. He turns and looks at me and like throws his bike down and like throws his arms in the air, and he runs over and gives me this huge hug, just like, freaking hey, I did it. I freaking did it. I was super stoked for him. So good for you, Todd.
I can't think of a better person.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Hey, Todd, good job, buddy.
Good job, Todd. So it's fun. And then I got in my car and cried myself to sleep because I felt bad and stared at the ceiling for hours. Like, what have I done with my life?
You lost. Like, is that 2 races in a row that you didn't get on the top of the podium?
That's correct. Yeah.
Row.
Yeah. So it's all good. It turns out that I was getting something. I have had a sore throat and fatigue for like 4 days since then. I actually I've only ridden my bike once since the race because I was not feeling well. So anyway, I actually, laid in bed most of the day one day because I'm not feeling so hot.
Not for nothing. On multiple levels, it's good. It's good that Todd won because it's fantastic for him. It's a reality check for you as much as you don't want it. But if you're getting sick, you want to get sick now?
Yes.
Not in a week and a half from now.
No, a week and a half from now.
Or even this coming weekend. You want to get it out of your blood for this weekend. Hopefully you're going to be able to bounce back.
I am hoping I'll be able to bounce back. It's kind of funny. I got back not feeling well, started going through my bike to make sure everything okay. I had broken a pedal, didn't realize it. One of my pedals, because I pedal struck really hard a couple times. I'd broken a pedal, but it was still kind of holding my foot in, which why it didn't fall apart. My cassette was loose on my rear wheel, and I had to change both tires. Both my tires were smoked. So I've got new tires, cassette properly thing, had to put different pedals on.
Brake pads?
And brake pads. Yes, both my brake pads were smoked too. So, and the bike needed a little bit of love after that race. So freaking look out this weekend.
What's coming up?
I'm coming. It's the Sister Stampede this weekend.
Ooh.
It's what I have kind of designated as my A race for the year. And I'm not feeling in A race shape at the moment after not being sick, but maybe I'll be like super recovered and ready to rip.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe, I know this is crazy. Take it a little easy this week.
Yeah, well,
let your body taper a little bit.
Forced, yeah.
Do some like pickups, do like your standard taper stuff, but
that's
you know how to
kinda-
taper. You
that's
know how to taper.
Kind of
don't you?
where I'm at. So
Cool.
anyway, that's it.
Sweet.
Jake,
I rode a bicycle.
What
I rode a bicycle.
was it indoors?
No. Rode outside
Whoa.
with Lance.
we did. We went for a ride.
It was about only 50 minutes.
50 minutes.
Which was about 40 minutes longer than I should have ridden. Well, per the doctor. But
Right.
I felt good. And we weren't going hard. It was conversational pace. And it was 50 minutes, 10 miles, and over 800 feet of climbing, if I'm not mistaken.
It was almost 1,000 feet of climbing.
Yeah, we were just riding around Prune Hill and chit-chatting and actually doing some video stuff, which was kind of fun.
Oh,
But
good.
the whole time I actually was recounting back to the time that I went for a ride with you back in, what was it, like January or February, whatnot. And we left my house and we rode up to the school, and just that little short climb, I can remember like my hip felt like complete ass right there. It was like all swollen, felt crappy. I'm like, I'm still going to do it. You and I rode for like, 25 minutes or something like that.
I remember it was pretty short.
Yeah, we got to the same point, and I'm like, feels pretty good. Telling Lance, like, last time I did this, didn't feel so good. So, yeah, we just kind of soft pedaled around, and the whole time my leg felt really good. So I've been doing my therapy exercises. I've been stretching, and I've been doing the foam roll stuff on top of that. In conjunction with the injection stuff that they did, it's feeling... It feels well. I don't want. I don't want.
knock on wood.
Exactly. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I'm going to be going out for another ride here. Probably, maybe today, but tomorrow for sure. We've got our first ride of the year for our Fog Out Friday rides, which is a social ride, which is perfect. That's
Nice.
my top end, my threshold.
When is that?
This Friday, tomorrow,
From
the day that we record
people.
this. Yeah,
Get there, be
but,
there.
Yeah, and felt decently good the next day. So I'm cautiously optimistic about all this. Other than that, not too much else to report. Just
So you are planning on doing the fog hat?
I think so. Yeah. If I don't have anything else, I got to check with my wife, make sure she doesn't have something planned for us. And if there's nothing planned, then I do plan on going to that ride. Should
Very
be fun.
cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Jake and I actually recorded our ride with video and have posted or about to post a video on YouTube about our ride. It's actually
It's about a product, not necessarily your ride, or is it
not.
about your ride?
It's our Unbound preview, our Unbound gravel race preview. Basically, it's me telling you what bike I'm riding, what tires I'm riding, what
cool.
pressure I'm riding, why
I
I'm
like
going,
that.
but why I'm
Yeah, it
going
should be
out.
fun. It's timely. It's as we're talking right now. If you look over there, it's uploading to
It's
YouTube.
uploading
as we
at the
speak. So
moment.
it'll be posted later today. So as people listen to this, they can go to YouTube and check it out if they want. So
So it's almost like an interview on
Kind of, yeah,
interview on the
bike
bikes,
while,
yeah.
while riding.
we actually recorded 3 videos.
We recorded 3 separate topics. The other ones have not been.
Yeah, I've got to
worked on-
finish
worked on
editing
yet.
them. So anyway, yeah, it was fun.
I gotta edit too.
Now.
That's what I gotta do after this. Get some editing
So
in.
much time editing. Good times. Yeah. All right, let's move on. What up, Champ Bailey?
Champ is here.
I hear
He
this little
is
thing
here.
called the gyro.
The Gyro d'Italia
Italia.
is happening.
Dude, I've been watching. Well, I haven't been watching every day, but it's been so good.
I wake up every morning, turn it on,
Fired up.
and try to watch the last 20K or so of the race. Pogacar has just been kind of unfreaking believable.
Yep.
I think I made a comment a couple weeks ago that he could take it easy if he had like a 7-minute lead. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I said something about 7 minutes. He currently has a 7-minute and 42-second lead in the GC and 8 minutes over Geraint Thomas. So Pogacar's in the lead. He's won 5 stages. This last stage he won, and it wasn't really his plan to win that
Right.
day. It was a weather shortened day where they took out the Stelvio. Stelvio is one of the
Right. It's
classic big climbs in Italy, but there was snow on it, and there was snow through the valley that they were going to have to ride through, and so they actually shortened the race. It was only like 3 hours or 2 hours,
But they finished on a
15 minutes.
mountaintop finish.
They did finish on a mountaintop finish. There was one guy who was getting away, but Pogacar, I don't know, decided to do his threshold interval at the bottom of the.
It's really what it looks like. He's like, I'm just gonna tempo this, and it's again. We should, there. It's to me, it just looks like he's not standing up and climbing. He
Right.
just like sits down, tempos, and goes past. He goes past like elite tour cyclists.
Yes.
like they are.
Yes.
Mom and dad pushing a kid up the hill, and he just goes by him like. I keep wondering if he's just gonna like pat him on the back and be like, "Good job, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Good job.
Good try, son.
Get after it. Good on you for trying."
He's just on like a whole different.
But did
ball
you
game.
see after that stage? Wait, no. Was it? Yeah, it was that stage where he caught that guy who's the youngest guy in the Giro. He's like 20 years old. I don't remember what his name is. And at the end of the stage, he like, is hugging him or whatever. And the guy's like, "Oh man, can I have your glasses?"
Yes.
And he's like, "You can have my glasses." And then he's like, "And you can have the pink jersey."
And he unzipped his jersey.
He took off
handed
his
him
jersey.
his glasses and then unzipped his jersey immediately and handed it to him.
I was just like, dude, this guy, how do you not like this guy?
Dude,
he's easy to like.
It's pretty freaking cool that he did that. The young guy was.
I can't remember what his name is, but
he was like starstruck. This is like one of the guys that one of his heroes,
which he almost beat. He went in the break and he stayed away all day and ended up getting second because Pogačar just ran him down. But it almost looked like Pogačar was going to let him win, and then he's like constantly turning around and looking to just see like where the field is, and he's like, "All right, I got to go.
I got to keep going.
I got to keep going." Sorry.
I think we need more jersey swaps in cycling.
Yeah.
Why don't we have jersey swaps in cycling? I think that was really freaking cool. You have it in soccer. You have it in football games sometimes. You don't really see it in baseball.
Or even the glasses or anything little like that.
Swap
Super
something.
cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they do, and we don't know, like little things like glasses or whatever. I don't know. Like, because he was like, "Let me." He wanted the glasses.
He wanted the glasses. He like pointed the glasses and said, "Let me have those." And Pogačar didn't even flinch. He just handed him the glasses and then took off his jersey and handed it to him. So I wonder if he had his finishing bottle in his back pocket.
Yeah. I know. I thought about that too. I actually looked at the replay and I was like, "There's nothing in that jersey," which is weird, right? Like,
it's already been taken out.
There's nothing in those back pockets at all because you have all the wiring and stuff, but that's usually on the bib.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was just like, "And here you go. Here is a disgustingly wet and sweaty pink jersey," and he was like, "Yes."
Anyway,
very cool.
That was really quite cool. So.
Today's stage, I think he got second.
Today's
overall.
stage was a sprint stage.
Oh, sorry. Yesterday's stage, then he got second.
Yeah,
and
correct.
So he didn't quite catch everyone.
Didn't quite catch it. And Milan from Trek has just been ruling the sprint stages, and And he lost his sprint train like with 400 meters to go, and so he didn't end up winning today. He was second by half a wheel. He made up that much time. So today was pretty exciting too. Anyway, it's been super exciting. It's been fun to watch. It's kind of, I couldn't help but think today that how much cooler this Euro would have been if Wout van Aert was there.
Yeah.
And if he was in there, like battling for these sprint stages and also trying to hang with some of these guys on the climbs, it just would have.
Begs a good question, though. Do you think that he could have kept up with Pogačar?
No.
Not with Pogačar, but this was like the first time he was going to go for GC.
Yeah.
And so to see.
It's like we don't really know.
No, we
for
don't
sure.
really
But
know.
But
you're
here's
like,
the thing.
It's Pogačar.
So Pogačar's got 7 or almost 8 minutes, right? He's got almost 8 minutes.
He's got 8 minutes
That's
over
all
third.
on the hills. That's all in the climbing.
Yeah.
That's in the mountains. Those are all mountaintop finishes.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would have mattered who he was racing. I don't think there's anyone in the world that can climb with him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I guess I should say the time trial was a block of time too.
It was.
There's been 2 time trials. He won one and
second.
He got second the other.
Yeah.
And so he's gained time on the time trials. But I do think that.
But most of it's been from.
And Wout would have done well in the time trials.
Yeah,
if we're honest with ourselves. And actually, Wout can climb too. Like he's won some big climbing stages in the past, but not like this. I don't think.
I'm so disappointed that we didn't get to see that. To see Wout try to dig in. I mean, and how's he going to come back? Is he going to come back? He did just announce that he's doing some other small stage race, the Tour of Norway or something that he's going to try to go do.
I'm guessing, he'll do something small and he'll gear up. He'll do some tour stuff. I bet you he'll just go for points.
Yeah. He just needs race days now because he's been injured and out of it for a while. So anyway.
Same with Jonas. He'll need to get back into racing a little bit as well. It's going to be super interesting to see the tour this year.
You know, it's funny.
See who comes around.
Jonas is doing a training camp right now in Majorca. I wonder if our own Ian Gibson runs across him like we ran across.
Not only
Garrett.
that, is Ian the secret training tool of Jonas Vingegaard?
Maybe.
Is he over there coaching him or something? Gosh, what's going on, Ian?
Is Ian coaching?
We're not going to start rumors here, but I'm pretty sure Ian Gibson is coaching
He's
Jonas
his new
Vingegaard.
coach.
Yes. So you heard it here first.
Anyway, that's pretty cool. That's it. That's the
important
That's
stuff.
all the champ I've got for you. Champ out.
Any triathlon-y stuff?
I don't know. I haven't been following it at all.
No.
Yeah, we need Evan Price here for that.
No big races recently. No.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
No, I haven't seen anything. They're all training for something, but I don't know what that is. So,
right on. Well, I guess we'll just move on and skip over the triathlon-y stuff. We're gonna do the
hard
Patreon
for a
thing.
triathlon podcast.
We haven't done a Patreon drawing in a while, so let's go and do that now. Lance has got the little jar over there with all of our current Patreons, minus the ones that have won recently, and he's shook it up really good. Matt's pulling it out, and he's going to read off a name here. And this person,
Mark Radford.
Radford.
I'm so glad I pulled that out because he helped me film whatever I filmed for
the Mike Miles
time
trial.
Trial.
Yep.
Time trial. He was like my go-to guy. I was like, okay, now do this, and he was. What do they say? Like down to clown. He was down to do it. It was awesome.
Right on. Well, Mark, you got to come down to the lab and pull something out of the goodie bag or goodie box, whatever that thing is. It's full of all kinds of stuff.
What do you got
It's
in
like
there?
overflowing.
Socks and cool stuff. I always
We
like
get
a pair of
hats and
socks.
bottles.
We get
and
swag from
That's
all kinds of
awesome.
stuff, and it's not crap either. It's like some really nice
Oh, I
stuff to
bet.
choose from. So you
bet
get to
it's
come
nice.
pull a thing or two out of there and make yourself happy. If you yourself are interested in becoming a patron, you can go to dialedcycling.com, and under the fun stuff, there's a little podcast link on that. You can click on that, take it to the Dialed Podcast website, and then pick the Patreon link, and that will take you to Patreon. You can pick a Patreon level that works best for you. You can be a part of this little process that we do from time to time. Anyway, thank you to everybody who helps support this little dog and pony show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Enough of that. Hey, question. Is Lance the asshole?
Yep.
Yes. Wait, let me think about it. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, he's always.
Wait a second.
I guess that answers the whole segment question. So
That segment is
Done.
Just
Right.
getting started.
it's ready to roll out. We done. Shut her down. We did this a while back. It's probably been a year and a half. We did a little Am I the Asshole segment, but it was mostly our own questions. This time we went to the likes of Reddit. Have you ever heard of Reddit before, Lance?
Yes.
It's a little platform.
Okay, so Reddit is the best because I'm always trying to do like product research on like to see like, okay, what am I missing? So I got the Hammerhead Crew 3 in front of me, and it's just like, okay, you see all this stuff, and you're like, okay, I got the specs, and I've done my rides, and I've got my own personal opinions, and you've been on it for 2 weeks or whatever. Reddit is the best place to go to really get the scoop on like what a mass of people are seeing. You'll see stuff like, oh yeah, the bottom left button keeps ripping off or whatever, and someone else will chime in, yep, that happened to me too, and you'll be like, that's where you see things first.
Yeah.
And you'll, if you're trying to review stuff, like you'll miss things.
Yep.
Reddit will not miss anything. Those guys.
Turns out people like to go to complain about stuff there.
I thought Reddit was the complaining.
It is. It's a complaint department of the internet.
It's where you go to whine about things that you can't solve
Yes.
yourself. Yeah.
So anyway, we got some things we stumbled across on the old Reddits and wanted to kind of ask some questions. Lance, do you have a list of said questions by chance?
Did you make notes or?
I've got
You got a couple.
AITA with cycling. MID
asshole.
ace.
hole?
Are we allowed to curse on our podcast?
Hole.
What's going on with our Disney sponsorship?
You know what? If they can say asshole on broadcast television, we can say it on the
can
podcast.
say
You know, Disney. I feel like Disney aren't they taking like a little bit of a spin on their PG ratings? I feel like there's some dark stuff on there, right?
Well, Deadpool is in the Disney universe.
Yes.
This is true.
And that is as rated as it gets.
Yes.
When is that new one coming out? Sorry for the tangent.
Soon.
Is it?
Oh,
Okay.
we should
Yeah.
go see it. That's going to be.
I can't remember the last time I went to a movie, and I have no idea what's even in the movie theaters because I just don't watch TV. So
Yep.
anyway, Lance, why don't you go ahead and read the first one off to us?
Okay, first question. AITA for asking another cyclist in our group to pay me $10. So this is
For what?
for BikeTube.
for a bike tube.
And
So
Bike tube
backstory,
and CO2, right?
Backstory.
Bike, yeah.
We'll just say this guy's name's Lance, just for. I mean, we don't know what his name is, but we'll just call him Lance. Goes out for a ride, and this really humble, nice, good-looking guy named, we'll just call him Matt, just flats or whatever. Lance helps him change tube or whatever, gives him a spare tube because Matt forgot to bring one for whatever reason.
Yep.
And then Lance throws out the asshole question. That'll be $10.
He said, "Would you mind paying me? Would you mind paying me, Matt, $10 for the tube and CE for the CO2 that I used?"
Now, wasn't there a little bit more to the story? Wasn't this guy relatively new to cycling, and the guy ended up changing the tube for him and used his own tube and his own CO2?
His own tube, his own CO2, and he kind of changed it for him because he hadn't done it very much.
Sure.
And then when they got back to the parking lot, he asked the guy for $10, and he stared at him blankly for a moment, got out his wallet, handed him a $10 bill, and said, "All right, if it's really that important to you."
That right there was an asshole move. Asking for the $10. I mean, what's your take? I mean,
I think you could probably ask for it nicely. I think you could say like, yeah, the tube and the CO2 is probably $10 or $15 or something like that. If you want to Venmo me, that's fine. You just kind of say it like that. And if the guy doesn't want to do it, then you're just like, okay, so I will never ride with this guy again.
Yeah.
But like any of us would have been like, oh, let me Venmo you.
You
help me.
And that's the thing too, is like,
$10.
I would tell that person, if they gave me a tube and a CO2, I would absolutely tell that person before they even had the chance to ask, like, hey, I'm going to give you a few bucks, or I'm going to replace everything for you.
Yes.
And I do that every single time.
Me too. Yeah.
Unless it's Lance. Because
he's an asshole.
Because I've already stolen that much stuff from Jake.
That should have never been brought up in the first place. I mean, the guy should have offered, like, oh, hey, he's using his stuff. He took his time. He changed it. I should at least offer that to him. That's the polite thing to do. So to ask for that money back, you shouldn't be put in that situation. And wasn't there even a little bit more, another like almost like condescending little remark that he made in there about the cost of his bike?
Yeah, he said, dude, you ride a $6,000 bike and you're worried about
was that someone else that said that, or was that him, the guy that's like giving back the $10?
The guy that's giving back the $10
made that comment.
He said, you ride a $6,000 bike and you're worried about losing $10 to help someone out?
Dude, I would be like, I just helped you out. Like I don't know. You can't, if someone helps you out like that, you can't turn around and that guy's the asshole in this situation because he's running his mouth when he just got helped out on the road where he could have been left.
Yes.
Like context is key. Like if
context is key.
Like if someone just read like the blanket statement of, hey, guy asked me for $10 for a tube and a CO2 after the ride was over. Really, did you have to do that? But when you get the context of the story, the guy that had the flat, that he had everything done for him, that made the little condescending remarks, that guy's an asshole. Yes. I'm sorry, but I don't know. That's just
the
my
guy
2
who
cents.
asked, the guy who didn't want to pay and made the condescending remarks.
Yeah.
He's the dick.
Yep.
Sorry, the asshole.
Peach is so much anatomy flying around.
We got
here
our
today.
Disney. We're losing our Disney sponsorship. I can see the money from Disney like floating away from us.
Did my face just turn red?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So, what would your response been if some guy had asked you for the money? Like,
dude, I would have gone. I would have immediately been like, I'll replace the tube and the CO2 because I would even said something like, might be more than $10. Let me replace the tube and the CO2. Try and get the exact same brand that you use.
Sure.
Blah blah blah. Like I've got these in the garage. Like give them to you soon, next time we ride or whatever.
Okay.
Or like, oh, you only want $10? That's easy. Let me just do that real quick. Yep. That's even faster than trying to replace the stuff.
For sure. What about the other way around? Would you ever ask somebody for $10?
I probably
tube and CO2.
Usually what you have is like someone's like, oh, let me pay you back for this, and you're always like, dude, this stuff comes and goes. It goes around like
circle of life.
You just try to be like, don't worry about it. Like this is why we pack this stuff to help everyone out.
Sure.
I don't know.
What about you, Lance?
I had a very similar situation at the Oregon Trail gravel grinder last year, if you recall. Day one, 10 miles into the day, I double flatted on a very sharp rock. And for the next 60 miles of that course, I ended up having to borrow 5 different inner tubes and like 7 CO2s.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this is a race. Most people
and this is from
aren't
a lot of other people. Like there's multiple people giving you stuff.
There's multiple people giving me stuff, and people would ride by me, and I'm on the side of the road with my wheel off, and they're like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "I need a tube and a CO2." And if they had one, they were stopping and like handing it to me, and I'm like, And every person that handed me something, I said, I'm in a van in the parking lot. Come find me. I will replace your tube
and I
in
will
CO2.
kill you. Go to the van down by the river.
Right, exactly.
Sounds like a killer comment
and
there.
So I made that comment to
Serial
several
killer.
people. Hey, I borrowed your stuff. Let me replace it.
Did it
Because we
come to
still
the
have-
van?
One guy did. Only one guy
'Cause
did.
That sounds about. I mean,
Yeah, everybody, and he needed it.
Yeah, if he was low on provisions. Then
Yeah,
you
he
need
was
that.
low on provisions. But that was day 1 of 5. He
Yeah.
needed it for the rest of the week,
Sure.
so I replaced it.
I wouldn't
had no
hesitate to go be like, hey, awesome, you've got this stuff in your van. Hook me
Yeah.
back up. 'Cause
Where's
I'll
the
put
CO2?
I'll put it back in my whatever. Like
Exactly.
no one. As long as there's no like edginess to it, everyone's awesome about it. Like
Right.
this is cycling. Everyone's friends with everyone. It's when those snide remarks come out,
Right.
that like you must have had a pretty bad ride today,
Right, exactly.
and something else is going on.
Yeah, I'm never going to ask for anything back just because that's just the way that it is. And I don't expect that
Yeah.
of anybody. And it's not too much sweat off my back to give somebody a tube and a CO2. However, there are people out there that I'll make an exception for. Lance, just kidding. No, it's the one, like, I'm sure that you guys have been on the ride with the guy that perpetually gets all
never
of the
prepared.
flats, never gets prepared, never. And then like, maybe he, like the first time he rolls up and he gets a flat and he takes his tube out and you see it's got like 7 patches on it and his tires all tattered and worn, and like,
That's only going to work for 10
if
minutes.
it's like a young kid and he's just trying to scrape by, like,
That's
okay,
different, yeah.
That's totally different. Here, take everything. You're good.
That's a good point. There's something about age, isn't there? Like when you're a 18-year-old cyclist
Yep.
versus the let's just say 50-year-old cyclist. Like there's some assumption made that at that age you're gonna have the financial means to be like a tube's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Versus like when I was 18. $10.
Yeah, you're digging through the couch trying to
that's
get
dinner for a week right there. That's
Yeah.
like we are scraping by.
Sure. So, I mean, there are a few exceptions here, but on the whole, it's not a big deal. Just don't make it a habitual problem. Don't always be the same guy that keeps coming to everybody and not being prepared.
True.
So,
And don't make a big deal of it if someone asks for $10.
yep. Etiquette, and don't be an asshole.
Yes.
Cool.
It's pretty simple.
All right, what's the next one, Lance?
Okay, the next one. Am I the asshole for passing aggressively on a single track in a mountain bike race?
Ooh, that's a
Is
good
it
one.
it's a race, you said?
Okay, here's the story.
Did you write this story on Reddit?
I did not.
All right,
I did not read the
This is
story on
off the
Reddit.
tracks. This is off Reddit. There might actually be a video coming about this, but that's neither here nor there. Lance, tell the story.
Okay, so in my race field this last weekend at Silver Falls, there was a very long single track downhill. I've already mentioned this, and it was difficult to pass coming into that. And we were mixed fields everywhere. So there was lots of different fields on the courses at the same time, and quite frankly, in the first mile, I took off very fast, caught the 40-year-old field that was right in front of me, and there was a wide single track, and I would always announce I'm coming, what side I'm coming on, if it was safe for me to come. And I would say, I'm coming on your left, and I'm coming hard on your left, and usually people would move out of the way because they know I'm not in their field. If I approach somebody on the single track where there wasn't quite enough room to pass, and I caught somebody, I would say, I'm not in your field. When it's safe, I'd like to pass.
Yeah.
Is that usually how I'd say it? Most of the time, they would pull over immediately, but not all the time. One guy I caught, and we're moving along, and we passed a couple other guys, and he goes, "Dude, do you want to get by me?" And I'm like, "Dude, if I could get by you, that'd be great. My race is up the road," because Todd was already beating me at that point, and I'm like, "My race is up the trail, and I'm trying to catch him, so." That'd be great. He pulled over immediately. Boom. I whipped around him. He didn't lose more than half a second, and I immediately gapped him too. So I put some time into him. But anyway, I finished the race. There were a few people that finished behind us, and 2 of the competitors who finished behind me rolled into the finish line, and one of them looked at the other one and just went, "Screw you, dude. Screw you." And I thought, oh, is he joking around? And then you could see he was like red hot. He was not screwing around. He's like, the way you passed me was not cool. That is not what you do in these races. And so they had a little bit of conflict. Words got a little tense. Temper started to rise.
He was talking to you.
He was not talking.
He was
to
talking
me.
about. He was talking to someone else.
He was talking to somebody else
about the pass that someone else made.
Yeah. So apparently, what happened is one of the competitors came up to another guy. They were both in the same field.
Did you know both of these guys?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not revealing their names because it's not my.
It's Jake, wasn't it? Damn it, Jake. It's always you. You're always the asshole. Okay.
So they're both in the same field. He catches him, and the guy behind is like, "Hey, dude, let me around. I want to come around." And the guy in front, they're in the same field. So there's where it gets tricky. The guy in front doesn't have to let him pass. It's up to the guy behind him to find a spot to pass safely.
Right.
You're just not supposed to crash somebody out when you do it, right? And so, but the guy behind him started kind of talking very aggressively to him, telling him to get out of the way. And he didn't have to, okay? And the guy in the front could have.
Well, he kind of made it a comment. I mean, I obviously wasn't there, and this is all hearsay, but it was an aggressive comment, like, you need to get out of the way or else. It was kind of like one of those or else statements.
He said, if you don't get out of the way, somebody's going to get hurt, is what he said.
Yeah.
If you don't get out of the way, somebody's going to get hurt. And I don't know if he was implying, I'm going to crash you out if you don't get out of the way, or if you don't get out of the way, I'm going to try to pass you in a spot that might be too tight, and we're both going to crash out.
Interesting.
So hard to say.
Well, there's some more things that you and I had this conversation. We were talking about this, and then we started to kind of like ask a few questions. Like, what, I'm not sure, but basically it was like, what's the rule on that? So we went to the OBRA rulebook. And scrolled through there. Nothing.
There's no rule about passing in a mountain bike race.
It doesn't surprise me because it'd be hard to make rules and then like try to figure out the judgment call on every single trail slightly different.
Correct.
Was there enough space to pass? Who knows?
And there's never a referee watching any of these things, not back in the...
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. There are a lot of people that roll with GoPros on their bikes.
Yep.
Sometimes front and back. And worst case scenario, it could pick up audio. So, I mean, something like that would, if he made that kind of remark and it was captured on audio, video, whatever it might be, you could take that to them, and that's clearly unsportsmanlike conduct. But there's an element of that's harassment, or even worse than that. And I'm sure that you could get relegated for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
other side of the coin, though, like if the guy was really, riding slow and he was holding up a big pack of people or something like that, and the guy's like, "Hey, you gotta let people through, or else someone's gonna get hurt."
Yeah.
It all depends on the context of like how it was said, which is again where video would come in handy.
Yep.
But don't know.
Interesting enough, the guy who got passed, who was in the front, it's somebody I had also passed just probably 5 or 6 minutes before the incident happened. And after the race, once he calmed down with the other guy, he walked by and I'm like, "Dude, did I pass you okay? Was that am I the asshole too?" And he's like, "No, dude, you actually did it right. It's the way this guy said it. He threatened me. I felt threatened when he said what he said." He goes, "I was pissed when you passed me because we're in the same field. We're in the same field. But you passed me cleanly, and you said, 'Hey, I'm coming on your left.' And I went right around with another guy who was also passing him. And so I'm like, 'Hey, I'm coming through too.' And he was fine with it. He says, 'No, you didn't do it right.' He goes, 'I love racing with you.' And I'm like, 'I don't believe you. Nobody likes racing with me.'
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I mean,
Jij bent een klootzak.
Yes, I am. So,
Well, we dug a little bit deeper too, and then we went to USAC's rules, and they had a little bit more put there, but it's not 100% black and white. There's a little bit of like vagueness to it, but at the end of the day, you just can't pass somebody in a situation where it causes somebody to crash or to be unsafe. So, I mean, that was about the extent of what they said, correct?
Yeah, I was trying to find the note that I made, but I think I've already deleted it. Basically, USAC's rule is it's up to the person behind to call out what side they're coming on and when they're coming on, and they can't pass in a place that will crash them out.
But in the same respect, the person that's up front does not have to yield the trail to you ever.
No.
It is your trail. Now,
correct.
And they can float left and right, so effectively kind of blocking you. But as soon as you come into a space, they can't come into that same space to try and block you. So you kind of have to like sneak attack, or you need to get yourself in there. But you also need to announce at the same time so that they know that you're coming.
Yeah.
But once they're in there and you guys are maybe wheels are crossed or whatever, you can't take that line from them at that point in time.
Correct.
So that's effectively what the rule is. And it would be nice to see a little bit more clarity from Obra in terms of putting some stuff into the books, because obviously this is happening and we've seen it happen. And you sometimes get pissed, but then you're like, dude, I'm just in a mountain bike race. I'm not just doing this for fun, and I'll get them back some other time or some other way, not physically, but just in a trying to pass them kind of a situation. But anyway, long story short, it was just nice to see a little bit more clarity.
It would have been nice.
Yeah. And then ride with cameras, people.
Yeah. With cameras on, it would have been easier to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your question is who is the a-hole here?
Who was the a-hole? The guy in the front or
vote,
the guy in the
I
rear?
vote guy in the rear. It's from everything I have heard from this story, which is limited to the same stuff that the people listening on this podcast, that are actually listening to our podcast. I've heard the same amount. I don't know anything. I wasn't there. Again, the real rule is like someone would have to be there. We would have to have video footage of the situation to see how the person behind actually behaved.
Yeah.
But from what I'm picking up, it sounds like he didn't pass all that well.
Yeah.
And he probably could have done a better job.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, when you make remarks or comments or statements that you're going to cause harm to somebody, that can be, even if it's being misconstrued and that's not what he meant, it's how you said it and what you said. You can't do that. You're the asshole. So
that's correct.
So
it's the guy passing.
Yep,
I agree
for sure. And then they calmed down, and then the referees did talk to them, but nothing.
The head referee had a conversation with both of them. They both got basically warnings because there was no evidence of anything, and so nobody crashed. So that was good, but it made for an uncomfortable situation for a few moments.
Point taken.
So.
All right, what's the next one, Lance? Do you have another one in there? I think we had a few of them. We had one that was gonna. All right, I don't
go.
I think I said this to you. You can pull it up. Maybe I can pull it up too, but I'll just paraphrase it. Am I the asshole? Asks the reader, for riding my bike on the same road that I know a race is being held on, the race is going on, and just, am I the asshole for going out there and going for a bike ride in the middle of a road that's part of a bike race?
No. Not if the road's closed. And almost every road race around, the road is not going to be closed.
Wait, so if the road is closed, you're the asshole. If it's not, if it's open, you can go do your thing. Go ride your bike and have a jolly day. So
correct. Just don't interact with the race. Don't conflict with the race.
Get in the way. That's either whether the road is closed or open. You're the asshole if you cause any problems with the race. Recognize that people are racing and that they're taking it seriously, and get out of the way.
What if he doesn't understand or realize that there's a race, or maybe he even doesn't, just doesn't care? He wants to jump in the peloton because he wants to go from going 18 miles an hour to 24 miles an hour, and he wants to get pulled along for a little bit.
Yes, you are the asshole if you jump.
It's more
into
like
a race.
It's not that you're the asshole; it's that you're not educated on what's going on.
Yeah,
right. You're the ignorant dude.
Have you guys ever almost ridden onto a race course? Ever?
I have once.
Whereabouts and what was the deal?
It was on Marine Drive. It was the
PDX Marathon, or
it was the triathlon.
Yeah,
there was a triathlon going on,
of course,
on Marine Drive. And
I was just jump in there.
I was just out for a ride.
Yeah, you're like, closed road. Let's do this.
And I get onto the road and I'm like, oh, dude, the road's all closed off. And then I see everybody on triathlon bikes and time trial bikes, and
so there's just a sign. There wasn't a person saying no, you can't enter.
Correct.
Interesting.
And so I rode for like 3 or 4 miles and just like
enjoyed it
and stayed out of the way.
Yeah.
Until I could get off of
their TT bikes just go choo, choo, choo by you.
Wrong. It's a triathlon race.
Yeah.
You are not going that fast.
I was passing people.
You're passing people.
And encouraging. Hey,
and encouraging, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how you do
cheering. I was like encouraging.
That's how you want to do it. So again, stay out of the way of the race. Don't interact in the race, because if they're drafting you, that's them cheating and that's causing problems. Don't block anything. Don't cause any problems. Otherwise, enjoy that free road.
That's right.
I think the big thing is, so we run into this a lot, and in like road races for running, you would see kids that don't want to pay for don't want to pay the $25 for the entry fee for the race. They'll go and they'll line up without like a race number on. And so that's kind of an asshole move, right? Like they don't want to pay for it, but they want to do the race anyway.
Sure.
And my thought was always like, if you're a broke college kid, go for it until you get to the last mile, and then please just like pull away. Don't go through the finish line.
Don't go through the finish
because
line.
people do go through the finish line, and that's like, okay, like I don't mind if people are on the course at the same time. Like, probably shouldn't use water. Probably shouldn't like take gels and stuff. Because then you're like, okay, this race put this stuff on. Don't go that far. But like if we can share the road.
Yeah.
For sure. And people can get their runs in, especially if they want to get a long run in and not have to deal with traffic and all this stuff. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
It's like, don't cross the finish line. Don't get in the way of the event. Don't cause problems, and everybody's happy.
I saw some like, I don't know, Instagram video or something this morning about somebody helping with unbound gravel. And with unbound gravel, okay, the roads aren't closed. The course isn't even friggin' marked.
Right.
The course isn't marked, and they don't have aid stations. You have to have a support crew. And so in the 200-mile race, there's only 2 spots where you meet your support crew. In the 100-mile race, there's 1 spot at mile 54 where you meet your support crew. And so you got to imagine those.
Who is your support crew? Just Brandy?
Brandy.
That's it.
Yes.
That's all you got.
At Unbound, you have to have a support crew. You have to have a cell phone on you so that if you are abandoning the race, you can call somebody to save you. They will not come and remove you from the race.
Are you doing the 100-miler?
I'm doing the 100-mile.
Okay. When are you going to do the 200-miler?
Never.
Okay.
Screw that. So
We'll see. I bet you get there and you're like, eh.
No,
one small voice in the back of your head is going to be like, oh, that 100-mile was really long. But then you're going to be like, but I could have done the 200-mile someday. We'll see.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Anyway, so you can imagine that these support crew areas are swamped.
It's a zoo.
Because Unbound is 5,000 racers. It's a ton of cyclists. Now it's spread out during the day, but the support crew area will be 6 blocks long or something. It'll be some tiny little town in the middle of Kansas that it'll literally be like a 800-person town that has a little town square. And the support crews will be spread all amongst 6 or 7 blocks in this little downtown area. And what Unbound tries to do is they try to color code it. You're supposed to park in the purple area. You're supposed to park in the blue area. And you know that going in that you're looking for the purple area so that you can find your support crew. But it's a mess. It's kind of a zoo, right? And so when I went through with Brandy, I kind of figured I would be close-ish to the front, so I was able.
That's another thing to think about. Is like it's crazy unless you're on either side of the bell-shaped curve.
Yes, correct.
Right, so it's like it's probably fine for the pros to find their stuff because they're way up front.
Yeah, because the people in the pros are in one spot,
and then the people in the back are probably fine too because things are like
it's spread out by that point.
Yeah, not to say that the party's over, but like
right.
It's the masses have.
I was able to like get a spot in the pro area.
I would think that it would
because
be
I requested it. She asked me like, "Are you going to be fast?" And I'm like, "That's a loaded question, but." Yes,
you're
I'm
like
going to try to be fast.
Do you know who I am? You should say it like that. But don't you know who I am?
Right,
Lance Romance. Look me up, okay?
And so she didn't flinch. She just gave me a color
cool.
code for like the elite kind of
Perfect.
area. So I kind of
Which is
knew
where you belong.
Right.
You'll go hard.
No. So
you'll go hard, won't you?
I knew I was able to find Brandy pretty quickly. But when they're in the big group, there was this one group. Oftentimes people have a support crew, and it's not just Brandy. It's not just one person. It's like 4 people because you roll in and somebody hands you a sandwich, somebody swaps your bottles, somebody puts a new hydration pack on you, somebody's stuffing your pockets with new gels, and somebody is working on your drivetrain while you're standing there eating a sandwich and you only stop for 30 seconds and boom, you're gone. It's like a NASCAR.
3 to 4 people applying chamois cream. That's a full teamwork right there. It's not a one-man job.
That's you have to enter the lottery to
that's a lottery.
Apply chamois cream.
What are they using?
So many people.
What are they using? A caulking gun?
We're getting deep. That's not
okay.
The puns are ugly. Anyway, so there was this one guy showed this video that because people were having trouble finding their support crew, they put a guy on a bike at the start, like one of the support crew guys on a bike in a jersey that he would recognize. So the rider came in, sees his buddy on the bike, and the guy on the
like
bike,
a little pilot just to take in.
you just follow me. We'll take you right to where our support crew stop.
And that's a big no-no, right? Or did they?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
It had never been discussed.
It
So
had never been discussed.
We don't have a rule against that. He
There's
shouldn't
no
be
rule
doing that,
against
but
it. It's fair
Right.
game.
yeah. Oh, well, devil's in the details, and if there's no details, then you're good to go.
The problem is if 1,000 people do that,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
That's why there will be a rule change.
There'll be a
Yeah.
rule change.
Yeah.
Last year, when I came in, I was rolling in with 4 guys, and we were all working together.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Hey, let's all enter the space and leave it at the same time because this group is working really well."
Yeah.
But there was one guy who was in my age group who never took a pull, and I did not want him to still be in the group when we left the field.
He's like,
So-
yeah, guys, we're working really well together.
Hey, we're all working good. This
really
is-
well
this
together.
is great.
You know, I've been third in line the whole time. So let's get back in the same order. Let's get back in the same order, okay?
So let's just do it. So he had neutral. There wasn't neutral support. You can hire a crew,
Yeah.
to be your support crew, but they're like helping like 400 people,
Yeah.
right? So it's a little more complicated. Well, those guys took 4 minutes or 3 minutes at the exchange, and I literally took 20 seconds. I rolled in. Brandy was like on it, ready to go. Swap bottles, lube on the chain, put a new hydration pack,
man.
and I was gone.
She even took care of the chain. That's good news.
Well, she was putting in the bottles in the pack, and I did the chain.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Smart.
So what did you do? Did you just like kind of go out and soft pedal, or did you just leave them?
No, I drilled it
You drilled it, huh?
because I did not want
Right.
that one guy to catch back on.
When they were like, hey, let's regroup together after this. Did you say something like, hey guys, I'm gonna have a fast stop, or did you say anything, or did you just like quietly?
I just stayed quiet.
Okay. Well,
I didn't
if you
respond.
didn't say like, okay, let's do this.
Am
then
I the jerk? Am I the jerk
I think
for
you
not
could
saying
have.
anything?
I think you could have said something like, I'm gonna try and have a really fast stop. If you said that, then they're like, okay, we don't have to worry about this guy. Like,
Yeah.
don't wait for him. Which I'm sure they didn't.
So here's what happened. One of the guys that was in our group was on a single speed. So he was my age, but he was on a single speed. He was solid.
Yeah.
He was good. It took him about 45 minutes, but he caught me
Wow.
on a single speed. So he catches me, and I'm like, oh, dude, well done. Good job for catching me. And he was like immediately, hey, you did the right thing. That other guy, I actually know who he is. He's a crit racer. He would have sat in this whole way, and he would have outsprinted you at the finish. And so you made the right call not waiting for us at the
If you're not going to
stop.
take polls and
You
you're going
never
to be
took
a
a poll.
part of this whole, like, I'm going to get a free ride thing and be a
Right.
part of this whole, like, we're going to come in and leave it. No. See ya.
Here's the thing. He should know better if he's a crit racer. Like, this is a gravel race. You're all talking about coming in and leaving together. Like, that's like group dynamics of like working together.
Yeah.
You can't be the guy that sits in. And if you're doing a crit race, by all means,
Right.
like win your race, do your thing by any means necessary. Even like all these tour races that we watch on TV, like those guys, it's all a game of who can sit in the most and rest the most.
Sure.
That's great. Like I fully believe that. But this is different. Like this is different, especially when you're saying stuff like, "Hey guys, let's regroup after the break, after the it's that seems like."
Did you ever cross paths with that guy again?
So what happened was the single speed guy, him and I were able to work together for the next like 30 miles. It was fantastic. We traded poles. I was going faster down the hills. He was climbing faster than me. I ended up taking the last podium spot for our age group. I was 5th in our age group. They have a wide angle podium at Unbound. And so I got the last podium spot. The crit racer was 6th. About 2 minutes behind me. So not far behind me.
Okay, but did he approach you?
No,
Did he say?
I never saw him again.
And he's got to respect that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a gravel race.
Yeah.
Not a ride, a race. So,
Well, then maybe he was doing the right thing. If it's a gravel race and he's like, "Hey guys, let's all regroup."
He played his card. I mean, we'd been riding together for like 30 miles, and he literally
Never took a pull.
never took a pull. And so I'm like, why do I want you here still? I don't.
If there were 3 other guys with you, they knew.
Yes.
they knew that guy never took a pull.
Yes.
These are not unexperienced cyclists.
No.
These are guys that can ride.
So-
Everyone's watching to see who pulls, and everyone's probably even doing more than that. They're looking to see how long each person pulls.
Right.
We had a similar situation the very first year I did the STP race. Well, it's not a race, but it's a ride. But they
It's
gave
a ride,
us,
but you race it.
well, no, they give us chip timing things. So if
Hey.
you're going to put a chip timing device on me,
I'm going fast.
this just turned into a race, and we're going to see how fast we can finish this thing. And again, I've told this story before, but when I say we, when everybody was being let out, I mean, I knew exactly 0 people. I didn't know a single soul there. And by mile 40, I'd made about 4 or 5 good friends. Reason being is because I was kind of flying through all of the traffic, because you guys have done STP before. I'm assuming when you first leave, there's 10,000 people.
Insane.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
crazy.
just leave in these massive waves, and then they stop it. And like they'll let like a group of a couple hundred people go, and then they'll stop, and then let the next group. So you've got a ton of people with all varying abilities, all out there on the roads at the same times. And there are a lot of, how should we say this, Freds out there?
Well, there's 10,000 cyclists, right? There's going to, and most of the people that you saw were the faster groups of people, because it gets, like, if you actually see this race, if you watch the second day, if you go out there, it's people with their 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And you're like, how is a 5-year-old going to ride 200 miles
Everybody's
in 2 days?
still leaving the first day. And not for nothing, the slower people, it turns out they like to get out there early in the morning because they want to make sure that they make it to the halfway point in a reasonable amount of time, because it can take them a long time to go 100 miles. So anyway, long story short, you're dealing with all these people. So I'm just bobbing and weaving and trying not to get run over. And I'm flying, and I'm keeping a pretty solid pace. I'm watching my power meter. I know what I'm wanting to do.
I was trying to ride with you guys one of those years, and I was like, this is not safe, because it's dark at that time.
It is.
And we're bobbing and weaving out of traffic going over 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. And you're calling your stuff out. You've got a light going on, and you're trying to give them as wide of a berth as you possibly can. But I'm dealing with like tandem bikes almost crashing because they're hitting curbs and people bumping into each other. I'm like, my God. And
It's
for
insane.
me, it wasn't like I'm trying to race this part of it. She was trying to be super fast. It was more of like, I just need to get away from all these people.
yes,
I need to get out in
exactly.
front of this. So
Get
I don't
away
have to
from-
deal
get
with
away
this
from the
crap
crazy.
anymore. So anyway, I spent a good 30 miles flying through stuff, and then finally it starts to open up. The sun's up. It's like, oh, I can do this. The roads are nice. I look back. I'm not kidding you. There was about 40 people on my wheel.
Same. I had the same thing. Although-
just sitting there.
I had the same thing where it's like, okay, I'm pushing a section. It was just flat roads. There's like some sort of military base out there.
Yeah.
And I turn around and it's just like, I can't even see the end of the line of people behind me.
Yeah.
And that's great. But
And
like,
then I look back at all these people. I'm like, hey, feel free to take a pull up here. You know,
Yeah.
take your turn. And so like a bunch of people started to pull through, and it started
People
to become a little bit more of like, not a bike race, but it was like kind of a well-oiled peloton. There was some good, solid cyclists in there. And then by the time we got to about the halfway point in Centralia, a lot of that 40-person group had been dwindled down to about maybe 15 or 20.
Yeah.
And we, kind of went through there. We did all of our things. That's when I learned about the glory of chocolate milk halfway through a long 206-mile ride, how wonderful that is. Anyway, we roll out, and then it just becomes more and more of an attrition, because we're trying to
go.
Trying to go. We're trying to put in a good time here. And there comes a point in time where we're down to about 8 people.
it's after Centralia.
Yeah.
It's like that. You have this like those massive packs.
Yep.
And then you leave Centralia and you're like, wait, where is there?
where-
There's,
yeah.
You're like, no, there's 3 people now.
Yeah.
It's like tiny
So
groups.
anyway, long story short, we get to about mile 150, and there was a guy that just totally bonks. And he was riding with us. He wasn't like doing a ton of work, but he was in there, and he was trying to help out and whatnot, and he was being nice enough. Anyway, he really seriously bonks. He's got 0 calories on him. He's got 0 fluids with him, and we're all like, hey, open up your water bottle, and I'm pouring in mine. We've got people that are giving him like their chews and other gels, and like we're totally like fueling this guy up. And we get to mile 165, and we pull into the rest station there because we're 10 miles shy. He's like, I think I'm gonna have to sit on the side of the road. I might pass out. And we're like, we'll get you to 165. You just keep eating this stuff. We get in there, everybody drinks a Coke, everybody has like a Snickers and fuels up and gets everything. We're all good to go at miles 165. And so we're on the dirty 30 at this point in time. We're on the home stretch. We get to about mile 175, 180. And one of the guys gets a flat that's riding with us. He's been a rock star the whole time. And I'm like, crap. Okay, pull over. We'll get you taken care of. So there's, I think, 7 of us at this point in time. 4 of us pull over. We start to change it. The guy that we fueled up looks over at us. He's like, I'm going to go. I want to see if I can get the best time. We're like, are you effing kidding me? We pulled you around for the longest time. I mean, he didn't do a ton of work, and then you bonked, and we all gave you all of our stuff, and we rallied around you. We actually slowed down for you too, and you're going to ride off and leave us here? And he, sure enough, he did. And 3 of the other guys went with him. Like, when one was a guy that he must have been a triathlete because he's got arrow bars and he's all over the place. I'm like, dude, get away. You are going to kill somebody. And then there's this other guy that's just kind of a little bit of an odd duck. He's kind of got an interesting story, but that's neither here nor there. So they left, and we never saw him again. They ended up beating us by like a minute or something like that. And so you can see it in the results. And, we got the other guy's tire changed, and we tried to catch back up to him. And that was a pretty dick move, right? So the next year, it was our friend Justin Wagner, who's a friend of the show. He reached out to me. That's how we met. He's like, "Hey, I saw that you put in a really good time." He's like, "We're trying to put together a group for this. I think it was 2016 at the time, and we want to have it be over 20 mile an average." I'm like, "Yeah, man, count me in." And so we just kept communicating. And he contacted a few other people. I don't want to out this kid's name, but he reached out to the kid that basically left us, and we all showed up.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we all showed up. You and I did a ride with them one day, and we all showed up, and we're all there. We're all queued up, and they start the ride, and it's the same thing. You're bobbing and weaving through all the people, and then we're probably 30 miles into it, and we've got our pretty good group going again, and everything's looking great. And there's a guy that's riding in front of me, does a quick little rip, like left right kind of thing, and there's a big pothole there, and I hit that. My back tire smacks. Pinch flat, and I pulled over, and this kid was behind me, and he rolled up next to me, and he looks, and he's like, "Oh, that sucks." And he just keeps riding. He didn't tell a soul. And it was like 3 or 4 miles down the road. Justin asked him, like, "Hey, where's Jake?" He's like, "Oh, he got a flat like 3 or 4 miles ago." He's like, "What?" And so I'm on the side of the road. I change my flat, and then I get into TT mode. I'm like, well, this sucks. Everybody just left, and what am I left to do? So I'm like, get into TT mode and see if I can find a group to ride with. And for whatever reason, I couldn't find any groups. Like, you'd come up to people, then you'd pass them. You come up to people, and you pass them. Yeah. Nobody was ever trying to like ride with you, can work with anybody. I TT'd for 50 miles, and I finally caught the group again. And it was because somebody else in the group had got a flat, and they pulled over for him. I think it was actually Justin. It's like one of the 2 flats that he got that day. Yeah. And so I caught up to him like, "Gee, thanks, guys." And I looked over at this kid, and I'm like, just kind of shook my head. I'm like, you guys couldn't pull over. You couldn't wait for me. We're trying to do this together as a team. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry." So we get to Centralia, and my wife is running SAG Sport for us. She's got like food and wheels and all the mechanic stuff and all the things in there. And we pull in, they give you the food and the drinks and all the other fun stuff. He decides that he's just going to go like take his time. And he rolls over to the car where my wife's at, and he's like kind of in the back going through stuff. And we were at this point in time, we ride over there, we're getting ready to leave. He's over there just kind of dinking around. I'm like, "Let's go." So we rolled out of Centralia, and he was never to be seen again, and got stuck out. And it was kind of a little bit of a warmish, windyish kind of day, and he had to fight that on his own. He had to ride the next 100 miles by himself. And, that's just kind of a lesson learned. I mean, like, you did this twice.
Did I tell you I saw him after the race, and he was crying? And
really?
He was like, "Those guys left with us." It was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Jake, yeah. And he had to come over to my house a few days later to pick up his stuff. Like, he was kind of like, he wanted to say something, but he kind of did. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks when people leave you behind. I told him that because he did that twice to me. I'm like, it sucks when that happens, huh? And he didn't. And I think he caught it at that point in time. And then I just never talked to him again. Lesson learned. But anyway, that was.
I think his big thing was that he really wanted to be like the first one in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Whatever, man.
Yeah. Well, a long race like that, you don't do it alone. So you've got to have help.
Yeah. And we did. We were the first ones in. Actually, Lance hooked up with us for
that's right.
70 or 80 miles to go. And
it was 100 miles to go.
Was it 100 miles?
I think so.
Okay.
I jumped in and...
Yeah, you just...
I was fresh legs.
There was a few people that were riding with us. Like, who is this guy and why is he doing all these hero pulls? Where'd he come from? Did you guys get this ringer set up? So he was helping out. But we were actually the first ones. I was actually the very first one to come in. Yeah. But the chip timing thing, Greg Steele, who was riding with us as well, ended up beating me by 1 second because he started a few seconds behind me. So anyway, am I the asshole for leaving him in Centralia?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, because I wanted to be an asshole that day. We should probably go back to
our list.
The actual question though. So, are you an asshole for jumping into a road race on your road bike, and you're not a part of the race?
In an open road, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Same thing. Back to your like Lance came and hopped in that event. It wasn't necessarily a race, but you helped. It was awesome. No complaints.
Yep.
I don't think you're an asshole.
I didn't affect the race.
Well, you probably helped.
Maybe I helped somebody. I just encouraged people.
Yeah, and that's not a race, so...
As long as you're not
different.
messing around with the peloton or the group, as long as you're not jumping in and trying to do stuff or causing harm or
if you
danger
did that
to
in a
anybody.
real race, that would be a big no-no.
Yes.
And you know that.
Yeah. So I almost rode onto a course. I've told this story before. When I first moved here, sorry, we're getting a little long on stories, but when I first moved to Camas, I didn't know anybody. It was the summertime, and I was like, I just discovered the 2-bridge loop, and then I'm like, all right, I need to make something longer. I need to get some more zone 2. So I rode all the way out to Frenchman Bar, came back into Vancouver, and I was going to jump down, was it Columbia or something like that, or one of those little streets, and there's yellow tape everywhere. I'm like, why is there yellow tape everywhere? That's weird. Why would they close the town down? And then I look up the road and there's like I saw like 2 cyclists, like they're not next to each other, but they're kind of riding. I'm like, well, I need to get through here. There's cyclists up there. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just go under this tape and ride with them. And the second I went under, you kind of hear this noise coming from the left. And I look over and no joke, it's the Vancouver Courthouse Criterium.
Oh.
And there's a big old pack of people coming. I'm like, whoop, back under the thing. I'm like, yeah, this is a bike race. And that was the start of the race. So the guys that were off the front, I think maybe had just finished the race or they were doing like a cool down or a warm up lap or whatever it was. I don't know why they were on course, but I stood there for a few minutes and then you see the people come in anyway. So that happened. And I stood there and I watched people. I'm like, oh, this is freaking awesome. And I got my camera out. I was like videoing stuff and I didn't know a single soul. And then I remember going back and looking at those videos probably 3 or 4 years later. I'm like, oh, there's so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so.
Right.
So I knew everybody.
Recognize all these
That was
people.
kind of cool. But
that would have been bad to inadvertently step onto a crit race.
Yep. So, and you absolutely do not ride onto this because those roads are closed.
Yep.
So anyway, all right. So we've got that one, and then do you want to do the last one? I think you had something about sidewalks or riding paths.
Am I the asshole for
Yes.
cycling on the path?
If your name is Lance Appler, yes.
I cycle fairly often for exercise around. This is from Reddit. I cycle fairly often for exercise in my local area, and I go down the same route pretty often. Part of my route involves going near a very busy road filled with HGVs and lots of traffic. Anyway, next to the road, there's 2 paths, one cycle path and a pedestrian path. The paths are very thin, and quite often pedestrians will use the cycle path to walk on. I was riding down the cycle path. I see this woman walking with 2 small dogs. The dogs were on the cycle path, but the woman was on the pedestrian path. As I got closer, I realized she wasn't going to pull the dogs out of the way, so I swerved into the grass to avoid hitting the dogs. She freaks out, yells at him. Is he the asshole?
It doesn't sound like it in that situation because the dogs were... I mean, she had the chance to keep her dogs out of the bike path.
Okay, so what's the etiquette with pedestrian paths, cycling paths, or multi-use paths?
Here's my theory, and I know that people are gonna shout me out and be like, "Nope, you got to follow the rules, or you can get a ticket, or blah blah blah." Especially we're talking about the Netherlands and stuff like that, where it's like you can't ride your bike on pedestrian paths. But I think if you're going to be on pedestrian paths, you should be going pedestrian paces.
Okay.
Unless it's completely wide open, in which case, sure, pick up the pace, but be aware that you might need to reduce your speed to pedestrian pace at any time when you see someone. So, for example, Heritage Trail, if you're riding that trail, that's awesome. Like, go for it. You want to hammer it? That's cool. You need to be aware of any sharp turns that you might need to be able to drop down to 4 miles an hour or whatever it is. And then I think that like you're basically, you kind of almost have to establish like this is a walking path or this is a cycling path.
Yeah, the multi-use paths are the ones that are tricky.
Yep.
When everybody's allowed on it.
Generally speaking, if you go to any of the trailheads, and sometimes the signs are even along the way, it'll give you like all of the rules and who has the right of way. Exactly. So I mean, everybody yields to horses, and then cyclists yield to walkers and horses, and then there's that's just pretty much what it is. So I mean, if there's people out there walking, you have to yield to them and be courteous and pass safely.
I mean, like when I ride on Heritage Trail, it's like if I look and I see there's no one there, I'm hammering. As soon as I get like I'm coming up on someone or I see someone coming the other way, I try to get my pace down to a pace that like 8 miles an hour, like something that someone would be running, and then I try to make it like I like it for the pedestrian to see that like, oh, I've slowed down a lot. Like wave, whatever, like make sure that they know that I'm not like trying to scream past them.
Yeah.
But
have you ever ridden behind Lance Hepler on Heritage Trail?
I've heard things.
It's called the Apology Tour.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry
For my friend. Sorry, my friend up there. He's an asshole.
And it still kills me to this day. And it's not just heritage, it's just any trail. Like you go riding down there, and there's actually a video that circulated about this, like all of the different reactions of people, and like they've kind of got it grouped into, I think it's like 6 or 7 different categories.
Right.
You got some people that are just like, give you the slow like fingers up, like, oh good, they don't acknowledge you. You got some people that jump out of their skin. You got some people that will like pretend like you're going to hit them, or they're going to give you like, it's all of the things. So yeah, you just got to be careful. Like Matt said, go slow. And
try to announce yourself.
Yep.
It's difficult to announce yourself when somebody's got their headphones in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Stuff.
If you're going to wear headphones, be aware that it like you do your freak out thing. It's still on you, man. You're blocked. There's noise canceling headphones. You've blocked out like your opportunity to be warned. Yep. So how are you going to be warned? I don't know. Like I do this on the run, right? Like I'm running on Heritage Trail. I'm going to run up on someone that's got headphones. And I always do the same thing. My technique is like drag your feet a little bit on the gravel. So you're making as much noise as possible. You pass on the safe side. That's your chance to pass. And it's like, if they freak out and they have headphones on, you're just like, dude, this is on you. Yeah. One time I got stuck behind, this is a long time ago. I got stuck behind a single track trail for like forever. Cause this guy had like over the ear headphones on. This was probably before AirPods even existed. This is like 20 years ago. I just remember thinking like, how are we going to pass this guy?
You finally tap on his shoulder?
And I don't remember. Like I knew who it was too. So it was like a little bit embarrassing for them. It was like one of my friend's dads or something like that. It was crazy.
That is funny. A pain when you freewheel a little bit, thinking that's going to capture
freewheel. That's another signal,
exactly.
Right?
And then you've got the bell. You're ding 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 ding, and then you're on your left, and then you like very firm on your left. And thankfully, I can whistle and break people's earbuds.
You can break the noise canceling.
I can get their attention if I have to with those. And they hear that and they jump out of their skin. Or it's just like, wear some air shocks or aftershocks.
Do you have bells on your bike?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually that
gravel
if I'm in a
bike.
Group of
your gravel
7
bike
or
has
8
bell
of us,
on it?
a couple of us have bells in them. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't use them on the road, but the gravel and the mountain bikes do.
I think that's perfect.
Right. So
bells are good.
Is this guy the a-hole?
No. She was blocking the path.
Yeah, I agree.
Both paths.
Yep. And I think what drives you crazy more, the person with the earphones in and not yielding to you, or the person on the trail walking with a dog that's not on a leash?
It's the dog not on the leash.
Yeah.
The guy with headphones in, I'm just gonna buzz him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and hope that he's not gonna move right when I get to him.
Yep.
But I'm gonna buzz him. Mm-hmm. But somebody walking with the dog off the leash, it's so unpredictable. You just you just stop almost.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and we've had more than one issue where dogs off leashes have been hit by the cyclist. Jake did it once. I did it once in Idaho.
Oh,
yeah. So
cool.
Anyway.
All right, I think that's enough. I think we're all the assholes.
That's good.
We are assholed out.
Right on. Let's move on to one last thing. Matt, you got something for us today?
Sure. I'm working on a video about the Coros Pace 3 after 100 days. Got to get back to editing, and that video hopefully will come out. I'm gonna, I'd love to say tomorrow, but it might be Sunday morning. It's probably more realistic that video will go live.
Guess what?
What?
We are, as of this morning, 100% in with Coros now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's good. I think that's a good call. I think you're going to enjoy. I mean, they make good watches. They have extremely long battery lives. This Coros Pace 3 is a really good watch. It's one that I would recommend for, all of my high school team. It's like a $230 watch. Excellent option for people. Check out the video if you want to learn more. The next video after that is the Forerunner 165, which I have on, and it's another watch that I would say like 100% recommend for, entry-level runners. Really, anyone that's running marathons competitively would be just fine. I mean, even like going back to Coros, Eliud Kipchoge, who's like the guy that broke 2 hours in the marathon, basically, he wears the Coros Pace 3. Like, you don't have to have these. For any of these like elite marathoners, you don't have to have the latest, greatest watch.
Does he get paid by them to wear it, or is that by choice?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he gets paid by...
Well, he probably had the option to both Garmin and Coros side by side and chose Coros maybe? I don't know. He
helped design the watch that he wears.
Sweet.
And so I'm sure he loves it, but... Yeah, he's getting paid by Coros, which is great. And then hopefully after the Forerunner, I'd like to get to this Hammerhead Karoo bike computer. they're calling it the Karoo, but really it's the Hammerhead Karoo 3. So
did you see the mix up that
No.
Karoo had?
Oh, no.
Somebody ordered a Hammerhead Karoo and was sent like the original Karoo.
Oh no! Seriously,
this is on
7-year-old model.
This is on you, Hammerhead, with your like naming.
Like
convention.
the warehouse worker just saw a Hammerhead Karoo and just like there was a couple in the warehouse of the 7-year-old ones, and like, okay, no, that's not it.
That's on you, Hammerhead. If you don't want to change your name, and I think one of the guys, I think it was Ray, DC Rainmaker, was like, yeah, there's something bad about K3 and how it like pertains to racism and
the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
I didn't
Triple K.
Okay, well, I'm aware of the Ku Klux Klan. I am from Alabama.
You are from Alabama,
but K3 to me, I think of
like a
mountain. Yeah. Anyway,
that's K2.
Yeah,
is it K2?
It's K2.
We'll see.
So K2 is okay.
K2. Yeah.
But it's the tallest mountain in the world, right? I mean,
it's not the tallest mountain in the world. Okay. It's like the second or third tallest mountain. It's the most deadly mountain in the world anyway.
Anyway, so the K3, they don't want to call it the Karoo 3 because of the Ku Klux Klan. So they're just going with Karoo, except for everyone calls it the Karoo 3. And then when Ray looked up K3, there was some sort of like
it's a pop band
or
Mangoes
something.
or something like that.
There's like a
Mango song,
Asian pop band,
which is also hilarious. Anyway, naming conventions. Be on the lookout for that video. I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. I'm excited about it. Very excited to work on that.
Sweet.
Coming soon.
Cool. Yep.
I am jumping in my van tomorrow morning, and
Where you going?
I'll be gone like 2.5 weeks or something like that. So
we're going to talk to you on the road.
Hopefully we'll be able to talk to me on the road.
Sweet.
Headed to Sisters, Oregon this weekend. Sunday is the Sister Stampede. That is a mountain bike race. It's 25 miles, only like 1,700 feet of climbing, so not a whole lot of climbing.
And you'll just continue west.
And
east.
Just continue east from there. Then I'm headed from Sisters, Oregon, straight to Unbound in Kansas, Emporia,
How long
Kansas.
a drive is that from Stampede to?
It's like 30
Forever.
hours. It's like 26 hours or something like that.
Will you do a lot of stops, or do you need to?
We won't do a lot of stops because we're
wanna push
trying to
through?
make it there by Wednesday evening for the Gravel Cycling Hall of Fame inductee ceremony.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Who's getting inducted?
One of the photographers that Brandon and I have become really good
cool.
friends with is she photographs all the her name Linda Garrett. I think I say her name wrong, but Linda she's been a photographer at all these gravel races for the last 5 or 6 years. I've seen her at dozens of different races, and she always goes around with her camera and her little tiny dog in a backpack on her back.
That's cool.
Oh, cool.
And so she's being inducted, and Brandon and I want to be there for her, so we're trying to make it to Emporia by then. And then I'll just stay there until Unbound Graveled, which is next Saturday. That's like 8 days away.
Crazy.
I'm not ready for that.
And then after that, will you take a little time before you come home, or you just take your time on the way home? Or
No,
what?
after that, we're going straight to Moab, Utah, and we're spending like 6 days in Moab, Utah. It's my wife and I's 30th anniversary.
Wow.
And so all our kids are meeting us in Moab, and we're camping and adventuring for the week in Moab for our anniversary and my daughter's birthday.
Sweet.
So that's what I'm doing.
Sounds like a good time.
I'm off screwing around.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
My one last thing is we do have the Foghat Friday ride coming back tomorrow.
Yes.
So
I kind of want to try and sneak out there, but it's usually tricky with swim stuff. So
6 o'clock. Does that?
yeah, it is one of my drop off times for
Gotcha.
swim. So or drop off and pick up. So
Gotcha.
What I usually do is I just track you and try and come out and find you.
There you go. Yeah, the route's all posted, so you can kind of go look that up and figure out where we're going to be. But that will be, if I don't ride today, that'll be ride number 2 this week. And I don't know, maybe I'll try and get up to about 3 or 4 hours on the bike this week. If we've got Memorial Weekend this weekend, so we've got some time, and I might try and sneak out on the bike. I think the weather's supposed to be okay. I think there's like spots of like decent sunshine.
Decent.
It's Memorial Day weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So is there no school on Monday? I guess.
Nope.
I'm so out of it. Like Dad of the Year award goes to the
Not
guy
Matt.
the guy that has no idea it's Memorial Day.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I can.
Man.
Lance and I can both like channel our inner Matt LeGrand. We put out a video this.
We
past
put
week.
out a video this week.
Yeah, we did a little review of the SRAM Red group set that came out this past week, which is pretty cool. And we've got a few more videos that are in the process of coming out. So go check out the Dialed Cycling
They're
YouTube
in the
channel.
can.
Yep.
Are they live as of the recording of this, or
The SRAM Red Access video is live.
Because I I subscribe and I have notifications on, and I don't know that I've seen it yet. So
maybe you've just got a lot of people that you follow, or we're just so small that it's yeah.
Nope.
Anyway, but
I'm gonna blame YouTube.
There is another video that will be out today. It's it literally
Dang,
just
you guys.
needs a thumbnail and it'll be good. And then
Yep.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 more videos that we've already shot. So I've just got to find the time to edit them.
I'm jealous.
It's in the
I'm
can.
jealous of your workflow. I got. It's taking me forever to get videos out recently.
Yeah,
So
well, anyway, they're not as fancy and shiny as Matt's, but they're little videos nevertheless, and they'll get better. And we'll just keep putting them out.
Yep.
Should be fun. That's kind of been the goal, and we're finally getting. We're so excited about them. All right, I think that is it. It's time for Memorial Day weekend, and I need that very, very desperately because I am tired. I need to get some rest. But we will be back next week with another one. And thanks for listening. Till then, bye for now.
Yep, no doubt about it. We are the A-holes. Nevertheless, thanks for listening.